Hey guys, so looking at this table that we've been building, we've created different parameters for it, materials parameters, dimensional parameters, but now I'm ready to load this into my project, and this is going to show you how exactly the different parameters and the difference between type and instance parameters will affect your model. So the first thing I'm going to do is save this. So I'll go to Start, Save As, and I'll save this as a family type. I'll save this on my desktop, and I will call it Table Example. And remember, you can always give it a different name if you want. You have different saving options available. But for this example, I just want to save the family. So I'll click Save. Now, one thing that you're going to want to keep in mind is that while project files are always .rvt, families are .rfa. So when you're saving or opening or dealing with families, just be aware that they have their own unique file designation. So now I'm ready to load this into my project, but when we press that button, an error appears. It says there's no open projects to load into. Well, rather than opening up an old file, I want to create a new one. So I'm going to open a new project. In this case, I'm going to choose my architectural template, and then I will hit OK. Now at this point, we have two options available to us. We can either go to View, Close Hidden, and then click Tile, which will let us see our component and our project all in one viewing space. Or, if you have your new project window maximized, you can always hold Control and hit Tab. This will let you cycle through the windows you have maximized. So if you prefer to work with windows maximized, Control-Tab will let you quickly cycle through them. Regardless, I'm now going to load my component into my project, and there it is. So I'm just going to start clicking several times to put in different instances of this component. Now that they're placed, I'm going to go into my 3D view, and I'll rotate around, showing you all the different instances of this particular family. So now I'm going to turn my materials on, by which I mean changing the graphics options so that they're realistic. Now, I know some of these probably don't look that great, but I'm going to go in and change the size of them. So I'm going to go into Edit Type, and you'll see all the parameters that we created are now fully editable. And I'm going to change the tabletop length to 3 feet. Actually, I'll change it to 4 feet by 6 feet. And now, when I hit Apply, well, you'll see that all of the different tables changed. So for the type parameter that I made as an edit type, I'm going to have to duplicate it. And now when I duplicate it, I'll need to give it a different name. So I'll call it 5 foot by 7 foot. And so now we've created another new type, just like we've done before. Now I'll go through and rename my original one to 4 foot by 6 foot. Alright, and now if I go back to my 5 by 7 table and change the variables, when I hit OK, you'll see that only the one table changes, because I now actually have two different types. So now if I select any of the tables in this family, I can quickly change their type from the Properties window. And that's because I duplicated it, creating a whole new type that follows the variables we set here. Now, those were examples of type parameters, which are the parameters that belong to all objects of a particular type based on what we set. However, we've also set two instance parameters on these tables, which is the base material and tabletop material. So if I decide that I want my base material to be stone, that doesn't appear to be a valid material, so instead I will go into the material browser, and let me scroll through and see if we have anything stone. I'm not seeing anything, but that's okay. We will go with steel carbon for this example. So now we have a steel bottom, and now for the tabletop material, let's do glass. So I'll search glass, I'll choose it, I'll click OK, and there we go. So because these two parameters are instance parameters, that means we can change them on any object, and it won't change other objects of the same type, because it's based on the properties of that specific component. So understanding the difference between these two really gives you a lot of flexibility, which you'll love in some cases, such as when you'll want to edit an item each time. Then you just have to select the item and adjust the instance parameter. But if you have multiple objects that you need to change, say you're dealing with 400 chairs of the same type, then a type parameter will be more useful. So you don't have to click through and change each individual item 400 times. So depending upon what type of object you're dealing with, how many of it you're dealing with, will determine whether an instance or a type parameter will be of the most use. Alright, that's it for this part of building components from scratch. I will see you in the next tutorial.